Chapter 28. Mia's POV. We were eating, and he suddenly looked at me with a frown on his handsome face. Angel, tell me what happened today because I don't really remember clearly. You left me a note to meet you at the motel, he started to say, but I cut him off. I didn't leave you a note. Hannah did, I said, and he looked at me. The frown just deepened on his face. I was kidnapped after you called. I started to explain it when he snapped with a shocked expression. What? He said in a loud tone, and everyone looked at us in the restaurant. Lower your voice and let me tell you the whole story, will you? I asked him with a loving smile, and he calmed down a bit. Sorry. Please continue, he said, and waited for me to speak. I woke up in an unfamiliar bedroom, and Jake walked into the room with a tray of food. I said, and he cut me off again. What? Jake kidnapped you? He asked furiously, and I looked at him sternly. Sorry, I will shut up, he said while he raised his hands and leaned back on his chair with clenched jaw. So, Jake walked into the room with food and greeted me in a friendly manner like he used to. I was confused and asked him what happened and why I am there. He was totally stressed, and he wasn't sure if he should tell me at first. But I convinced him that we can solve his problem together. So, he started to explain everything to me. He said that Hannah is his stepsister because his mom married her dad, and that's why they moved here from New York, I said, and his eyes widened. But he didn't say nothing, just nodded. Hannah didn't like them, and she was nonstop complaining to her dad what caused them to fight all the time. Jake's mom was crying every day, but didn't want to leave her husband because she loved him too much. When Jake started in our school, Hannah told him not to tell anyone that they are related because, as she said, he would just embarrass her. That's why Jake didn't mention it to us. On his first day on biology, she pushed him aside when he wanted to sit next to you, and later that day, she told him not to dare to stand between you two because you are her future husband, I said, and paused to drink some water. I remember that. It was strange, he commented, and I continue after nodding my head. He told her that you are married, and she started to badmouth me, so Jake defended me. She thought that he liked me because of that, and she said that he needs to help her to get you, and then Jake can have me. Maybe she would have killed me already if it was not for Jake. He was the one who took the photo because she asked him to, but he didn't know about Hannah's plan to kill our baby. Yesterday night, she escaped from the mental hospital when they transferred her there and called Jake to tell him her plan. She told Jake to take me away and lock me up till she has fun with you. Jake was worried. He thought that if he doesn't do it, then maybe she will hurt me. So he kidnapped me while Hannah lured you to that motel, pretending to be me. She drugged you, and she was pleasuring you with her mouth when we got there with the police. I finished, and his mouth was hanging open from the shock. He froze and didn't say a word for a few minutes. I just ate my food and let him process all this information. He was deep in thoughts. So she drugged me. I thought I was just drunk from the champagne. You left me in the note, or she left me in the note to wear the blindfold. We used to use them when we had sex, so I just did. I didn't think it was her, he said, and held his head in his palms. It's okay. I am not mad at you because you let her suck you off, I said teasingly, and he looked at me in disbelief. I thought it was you, for Christ's sake, he said, and threw his hands into the air. I know. Calm down, I said with a chuckle, and he shook his head with a smile. Shit, that bitch really played us, he said, and I looked at him with raised eyebrows. Played me. Sorry. He corrected himself, and I smiled at him. Yes, she did. But now it's really over. The police want your testimony also, though. They said they will call in a few days, I said, and he nodded. I am glad you came in time and saved me from that witch, he said with a loving smile. I am glad too. I don't know if I could have handled it if she had sex with you, I said sadly. But we had sex after that, right? He asked with a smug smirk, and I glared at him playfully. Yes, you remember that all right, I said, and we both laughed. I am so happy that everything ended well. I hope our little girl doesn't suffer because of my stressful days. So Jake likes you, huh? He asked with a stern expression on his face. He is very jealous. I can see that. I noticed how he always started a conversation with Jake when he was talking to me even before. I don't think so, but Hannah thought that he does, because he defended me, I said, and shrugged my shoulders. I know we just agreed to be honest and tell each other everything, but Jake is our friend, and I don't want Ryan to be jealous of him in the future. So this was just a tiny lie, and I would never think about Jake like that anyway, so Ryan has nothing to worry about. We just need to help Jake to find a girl who likes him back. We don't need to create problems between them. I see. I hope he doesn't, he said, and I shook my head in disbelief. But I don't blame him. I am also very jealous. We just love each other too much, and it's better if he is jealous because that means he loves me. I am glad we could talk about our problems honestly. Are you finished? Let's pay the bill and go home and watch a movie, he said with a silly smile, and I looked at him in disbelief. We just had sex a few hours ago, I said, quietly. Who talked about sex? He asked with a grin. You and your dirty mind, Angel. He said jokingly, and shook his head. Hey, I slapped him lightly, and we stood up to go home after paying. I just opened the door of our house when Ryan suddenly pushed me up the wall carefully, not to hurt me or my belly, and attacked my lips with his. He pulled away with mischievous smirk and held me face in his palms. After our baby girl is born, we can't have sex for 6 weeks, so we need to enjoy each other till we can, because it will be difficult later to have some alone time when Riley will be here with us, he said, and I looked at him with a frown. How do you know all this? I asked him, curiously. I have a book where you can find every little details about pregnancy. It's really helpful, he said, and I stared at him with open mouth. Are you reading a pregnancy book? I asked him in disbelief, and he blushed. Yes, I wanted to know what you are going through, and what can I help you with. We can read it together if you want, he said lovingly, and I just fell for him even more. He is so perfect, and I am really a lucky bitch to have him as my husband and the father of my child. Okay, I love you so much. Make love to me, Daddy, I said, and he looked at me with a wide grin when I called him like that. Gladly, Mommy. I love you too, he said, and now I was the one who was grinning. He lifted me up, and I wrapped my legs around his waist. He walked upstairs with me in his arms and kissed me passionately. I can't get enough of his soft, full lips. They are making me crazy every time he kisses me. Whose turn is it now? I asked him when we reached the bedroom, and he smirked at me. I don't know. Let's just make love, Angel. We had wild sex today already, he said, and I blushed. I love that we have the same interest in bed, but we need to make love sometimes too, he said playfully, and I hid my face by his neck. He placed me gently onto the bed. You are right. I am just so horny lately. This pregnancy makes me feel everything with double intensity. I want you so bad, I said, and he smiled at me. Don't worry, I will take care of that for you. And I will also order a few new toys for us on the internet. What do you think? Do you want to choose something too? He asked me, and I looked at him excitedly. That's a great idea. We will choose some together, okay? I asked him, and he chuckled on my enthusiasm. Okay, Angel, I knew you would like that, he said seductively and kissed me. We made love for the rest of the day, and it was perfect. Our love is stronger than some schoolgirl's obsession, and now we are closer to each other than ever. We won't keep secrets any more from one another to avoid the misunderstandings in the future. Chapter 29. Mia's POV. When we went to school on Monday, we didn't even want to let go of each other. We were together the whole day yesterday, and we were cuddling and cooking together and didn't leave each other's side for a moment. The thought of losing each other brought us closer than ever, and we can't wait to have our daughter here with us. You know, I was thinking, and our daughter can't have a boyfriend till she is minimum 25, he said seriously, and I burst out laughing while we were walking towards the school with his arm around my shoulders. Darling, you know that I will be just 20, right? I asked him when I calmed my laughter down a bit. Of course I know, but that's different, he said stubbornly, and I looked at him challengingly. How so? I asked, and he glared at me. I am sure your dad wouldn't let me date you that easily, like Chloe did, he said, and I frowned with a sad smile. He is right. Dad would have freaked out if he just saw us holding hands. You are right, but don't be that hard on her when she grows up. We need to show her that she can trust us. Otherwise, she will keep secrets, I said, and he looked at me and nodded. You are right, too. I hope we will be good parents, Angel. I am a bit worried about that, he said, and I can see the worry on his face. Don't worry, darling. We have still time to read some books, and we have our family to support us and help in every kind of situations as well, I told him, and he nodded with a smile. Yes, we are lucky to have them, he said, and kissed my forehead when we reached the entrance of the school where our sisters and the twins were waiting for us already with a nervous Jake by their side. Yes, we are indeed lucky, especially me and Mom. We were alone before we moved here, after Dad died. We had no one to rely on if we struggled, and now, here we are a big family who help each other and love us unconditionally in less than 2 years. Hey guys, we greeted them, and they greeted us as well with handshakes and hugs. How was your weekend? Dom asked Ryan and me and wiggled his eyebrows while he pulled Dinah closer to him. Well, I said and looked at Ryan and then Jake. The guys didn't know about what happened on Saturday yet. Hannah escaped and tried to have sex with Ryan, I said with a shrug, and they all looked at me with open mouth like I am crazy. What? The 4 of them said in unison, and we burst out laughing with Ryan and Jake. We told them the story while we were walking towards the lockers, and they all listened quietly. Jake was quiet the whole time and walked a few steps behind us while looking at the floor. When we reached the lockers, we stood in a circle, and when I reached the part where Jake kidnapped me, and when he told me that Hannah is his stepsister, they all looked at him with a surprised expression. Let me finish, I told them, and they nodded, and I continued. When I told them the whole story, they looked at Jake with pity. Tyler walked up to him and patted his shoulder. You should have told us. We could have helped you, he said, and Jake nodded. Now I know, but I was afraid to ask for help. We just met a few weeks ago. I didn't know how you all would react if I told you, he said, and we all nodded understandingly. This is crazy, but I am glad it's finally over and you are fine, Mia, and the baby too, Kelly said, and they all nodded and agreed with her. By the way, Ryan said and looked at me with a huge grin on his face, we are having a baby girl, he said, and the girls gasped and then screamed happily. The twins knew it already, and Mom too, but we asked them not to tell anyone because we wanted to tell for the rest of the family. Yay! It's a girl! We all burst out laughing, and they all congratulated. Ryan, you can prepare yourself then, Tyler said playfully, and Ryan sighed. I know, but I will teach her how to fight. In that case, she can defend herself if someone dares to bully her in the school. I will teach her how to play soccer as well, if she is interested. She doesn't need to be a too girlish girl, right? He asked adorably, and we all smiled at him. You are right. She will be a badass, Dinah said, and we all laughed. Okay, let's go to class, Ryan said, and we went on our way to attend our classes. We have English with Ryan, so we walked together towards the classroom. Angel, we will have dinner by my parents. We need to tell them the baby's gender before they will hear it from someone else. They will be angry that they will get to know it last, he said, and I agreed. Okay, we really should have told them already, I said, and he nodded. After school, we drove home with Ryan, and we were both smiling happily at each other. We will have dinner today with his family, and I miss them already. They are all so nice. Even though we live just next door, we didn't have so much time to go over to them while we had to deal with this drama with Hannah and the school and everything else. When we arrived home, we took a shower with a quickie because Ryan couldn't control his friend, and then we headed over to his parents' house. Mia! Ronnie shouted while she was running down the stairs and jumped at me and hugged me by my waist. I stumbled backwards because she is a bit heavier than before, but Ryan held me from falling. Hey, I said and smiled at her. She is almost 8 years old now. Easy, Ronnie. She almost fell, Ryan told her, and she looked at us with wide eyes. Sorry, Mia, I almost forgot about the baby, she said and looked at my belly. Hey, baby, I am Ronnie. I am your auntie, and we will have so much fun when you decide to come out finally, she said and grinned at us before running towards the kitchen. We chuckled at her cuteness and walked into the living room where Derek was sitting with a newspaper in his hand. Hey, kids, he said and stood up to greet us. You came finally. You should visit us more often, considered you just live next door, he said with a laugh. Sorry, Dad. We had a lot of, stuff going on, and we didn't have so much time, Ryan said. We didn't want to worry them by talking about Hannah because it's over anyway, so better to have a normal family dinner. All right, come and sit down. The dinner is almost ready, he said, and we all sat by the table. I noticed there were 11 plates on the table instead of 5, so I looked at Ryan, who just shrugged his shoulders. Hi, everyone, we heard from the door, and we looked there to see Mom, James, our sisters, and the twins were all here. Now that everyone is here, please take a seat, and I will bring the dinner, Helen said from the kitchen door after greeting us. I didn't know you guys will come too, I told Mom with a smile. We thought with Helen that here is the time for a family dinner with everyone here. I will just go to help her out, she said, and I nodded. She stood up and left for the kitchen after kissing James on his cheek, who smiled at her. Mom and Helen brought the food into the dining room and placed the food on the table, and I expected Dom to jump on it, but he didn't. I looked up to see him looking at Dinah nervously. What's going on? This four is too quiet. What is strange? What's going on with you guys? Ryan asked them. He found their behavior strange as well. Tyler started, and they all looked nervous and excited now. We are pregnant, he said, and we just looked at them with wide eyes. I mean, the girls are, Kelly and Dinah as well. Suddenly, everyone stood up and went to hug them and congratulate them. Our children will be the same age. That's awesome. They will be the best of friends, I said happily and hugged my sisters first, then the twins too after they pulled away from Ryan. Mom, Dad, Ryan called out to his parents, and now everyone's attention were on him. "We are having a girl," Ryan announced, and Helen's eyes filled up with tears. "We are having a granddaughter, Helen," Mom said with a huge grin and went to hug her. "Yes, I am so happy she is healthy," Helen said and rubbed her eyes. "Congratulations, son. We will make a cool girl out of her. Teach her how to defend herself," Derek said excitedly and wrapped his arm around Ryan's shoulders. "Yes, we will," Ryan said with a wide and proud smile and looked at me lovingly. "She will be just like her mother," he said and walked towards me. His eyes were showing a lot of emotions. He pulled me into a hug, and I hugged him back happily. "Aww," we heard from behind, and I hid my face into Ryan's chest, and they were all laughing at my reaction. Chapter 30. Mia's POV. 4 months later. I was laying on our bed, reading a book about pregnancy, when something happened suddenly. "Ryan?" I shouted from the bedroom in panic when I felt something wet flooded between my legs onto the bed sheets. It felt like I peed in my pants, but I know it wasn't that. I heard Ryan's heavy footsteps when he ran up the stairs, and he was by the door within a few seconds. "What is it, Angel? Are you okay?" he asked with a worried expression on his face, and I shook my head. "The baby is coming. The water broke," I said, and started to breathe in and out because I already started to feel the pain in my lower back and belly. Ryan became nervous and started to run back and forth in the room in panic. "She is coming, so what we need," he said nervously, and I stopped him. "Ryan, my bag is already downstairs. Just help me wear a new pants and we can go," I said, and he nodded. He was adorable. We talked about this day already 100 times, but I am not surprised he didn't remember anything at the moment it's happening. "All right, Angel, you can do this. It will be okay. Everything will be all right," he said stressfully, but I think he just wanted to reassure himself instead of me. He was really sweet. "Ryan, calm down, okay? You need to drive us to the hospital," I said calmly and kissed his lips. "Okay, I will try," he said, and we were on our way to the hospital. I sent a message to everyone to let them know the baby is coming, and they all replied back that they are on their way. We hurried inside, and a nurse brought a wheelchair for me to sit in it. They pushed me into a room and helped me onto the bed. The pain was unbearable now, and I was screaming while I was clenching Ryan's hand. Everybody told me it will be painful, but I never imagined it can be this painful. And the baby didn't even come out yet. "It's okay, Angel. It's almost over. Just endure it for a bit longer," he said with a painful expression on his face. He would take my pain away if he could, anytime, anywhere. I can tell because he is suffering from seeing me in so much pain. And I know him enough to expect him to tell me that in the future, he doesn't want more baby for this price. "I know. Don't worry," I said while panting. "I can do this," I said, and he smiled at me. I don't want him to stress himself even more, so I tried to calm him down and let him know that I am okay. I can't show him how painful it is. "We can hold her in our arms soon," I said, and he kissed my forehead lovingly, and I saw tears filled up in his eyes. "Yes, Angel, finally," he said, and we heard loud talking from the corridor. "I guess our family arrived," Ryan said, what made us laugh. After 2 hours of torture, our daughter, Riley, finally born into the world. She was so beautiful, with light brown hair like mine and blue eyes, just like her daddy's. She couldn't open her eyes properly yet, though. Ryan held her in his arms carefully. He had a megawatt smile on his face, and tears rolled down his cheeks. He helped me the whole time while I was in pain. He held my hand in his and encouraged me to push when it was the time. He will be a great father, and I am so happy that he is my husband. She is perfect, Angel. Our daughter is beautiful, he said while he wiped his tears away with his shoulder. Yes, she is, I said, and my tears were falling now too. It was terribly painful, but it was worth it. Let me see my granddaughter. Helen burst into the room and hurried straight to Ryan, who was holding our daughter. Oh, Ryan, she is just like you, she said with tears in her eyes, and Ryan nodded proudly. The rest of our family followed her into the room, and now 11 people were in this small hospital room, and everybody stood around Ryan and Riley to get a glimpse of her. She is so tiny, Ronnie said, and looked at the baby with wide eyes and a wide grin. I am all right, thanks for asking, I told them sarcastically with a playful smile when nobody paid attention to me. They all turned towards me with a guilty look on their faces, and I chuckled. Oh, so sorry, sweetheart. I was too excited to see her. How are you? Mom came to me first and kissed my forehead. I am fine now, Mom, but it was seriously a torture, I said, and she nodded knowingly. My sisters looked at me with wide eyes. Was it that painful, sis? Dinah asked with a terrified expression on her face, and I didn't want to lie to them. Yes, it was, but it was worth it, I said, and they nodded and looked at each other with a worried expression. They are by halfway, more 4.5 months, and they will be in my place. Their belly is showing already, and they have mood swings as well, what isn't easy to handle for the twins, but they don't give up. They come over to us sometimes when it's getting too much to calm down. They are both having boys, so Riley will have 2 brothers who can defend her from the bullies in the school, or from anything for that matter. I can't wait to see them running around in the house and playing with each other. Can I hold my daughter? I asked them, and they handed her to me for the first time after everyone held her already. Ryan sat next to us and kissed our foreheads lovingly. My 2 beautiful angels, what else do I need? He said with a huge smile, and I looked at Riley. She is so beautiful, Ryan, I said, and wiped my tears away, and he nodded. I love both of you so much, he said, and looked at me. I love you too, I said, and he pressed a kiss onto my lips. Okay, let's go. Let them have some privacy, Derek said, and the twins protested. Why? We didn't get the chance to hold her, right, Ty? Dom whined dramatically, and Tyler nodded with a pitiful expression on his face, and we burst out laughing. Come here, guys. You can hold her for a minute, okay? I said when I felt sorry for them. They nodded and hurried next to my bed excitedly. You are the best, Mia, they said in unison, and we laughed at them once again. They always tell me this whenever I help them with something. They are like my brothers, who I never had, but always wanted. Dom took her from my arms and looked at her with a grin. Hey, little Riley, I am your Uncle Dom. We will be good friends, you will see. I will teach the 3 of you for everything what I know, Dom told her, who reached out her tiny arm towards his face. Aw. Everybody looked at her lovingly, and Dom gave her to Tyler carefully. Hey, Princess, I am your Uncle Tyler. The first advice what I give you is, don't listen to Uncle Dom, ever. He will just teach you guys how to eat like a glutton, he said, and the whole room burst out laughing on Dom's expression. Hey, he protested with a fake hurt expression on his face and with his hand on his heart, and Dinah hugged him. That was mean, he said, and buried his face into the crotch of her neck. Don't listen to him. I know you will be a great father, Dinah said to him lovingly, and Dom smiled at her. Thanks, Bunny, he said and kissed her. Tyler handed Riley back to me. Take care of each other and little Riley, James said while patted Ryan on his shoulder. We will, they said in unison, and everyone chuckled. We will leave you three alone now. See you at home, Helen said, and they all left our room finally. I thought they will never leave, Ryan said, and I leaned my head on his shoulder. I felt the same. I love our family, don't get me wrong, but they are too loud, and we need some time with our daughter now peacefully. I am so happy, Ryan. She is so cute, I said, and kissed her forehead. I am the happiest man on this planet, Angel. You gave me the biggest present what a wife could give for her husband. She is the best thing, whatever happened to me, after you, and I can't be enough grateful to you. Thanks, Angel, for loving me. Thanks for marrying me, and thanks for giving me her. I love you so much, and I promise you I will take good care of both of you, he said, and we were both crying by now. I know, love. I know you will take good care of us because you are a great and caring person. I am the one who needs to thank you to be always there for me and giving me this adorable little girl. I am the happiest woman in this whole world. I love you so much, darling, I said, and kissed him passionately with a lot of love. I don't know where our life will lead us, but I am sure we will be okay till we can stay together. Our families and friends will help us too to survive the hard parts of our lives without a second thought. Even if things don't look so good, we need to stay positive and accept each other's help, and everything will be all right in the end. Chapter 31. Mia's POV. 3 years later. Congratulations, darling, I said to Ryan when he got the CEO position in his father's company. It wasn't like he got it because he is Derek's son. He needed to work for it and apply like any other people. Derek was strict about it, and I respect that. Ryan was learning and working hard to get it, and finally, Derek admitted that he would give it to him anyway eventually. But now he knows that he earned it, and when Ryan will be older and he will understand it, and he will thank him for it. As Derek said, he was in the same shoes when he was at Ryan's age. But he just got the position without moving his finger, and all these years he didn't feel like he worked hard for it because it just fell into his hands. Ryan's grandpa built the company from the bottom with very hard work, and Derek felt guilty to take it over just like that. So he told Ryan that he needs to work for it if he really wants it. Ryan didn't mind at first because he agreed with his father on that one. But when he needed to stay awake till late to finish his assignments for the next day from business, he wasn't that understanding anymore. He finished his school in the end with excellent evaluations, so his father can hand the company over to him proudly. Thanks, Angel. It's also thanks to you, he said and kissed my forehead. We are having a small party with our family and friends to celebrate Ryan's success. No, it was all you, I said and kissed him. You worked hard to earn this position. Don't think any other way. And I am very proud of you, darling. I just stood next to you, how a wife's supposed to do. I continue with a smile, and he kissed my forehead. Thank you, Angel. It means a lot, he said, and hugged me tightly. Riley, be careful with your brother, I heard Mom warn Riley, who wanted to take Matt, her 1-year-old brother, into her tiny arms. But Granny, Riley whined on her sweet baby voice. I can't get enough of hearing her talk. I love it. I want to hold him too, she said while she was pouting, and we burst out laughing on her cuteness. She didn't like it though, because now she was looking at all of us with an angry expression on her face. She was more funny like that because imagine a cute little girl in a purple dress and a purple butterfly bow in her hair while she had her tiny arms on her hips glaring at you angrily. We couldn't help but laugh even more and now everybody joined in. "What's funny?" Dylan asked when they run up to Riley with Jason. "All the three of us are 3 years old, but the boys are younger with a few months. Dylan is the son of Dinah and Tom, and Jason is the son of Tyler and Kelly." "They are laughing at me," Riley said, and now her angry expression changed again, and she almost started crying. The boys looked at us with a surprised face, then they became angry too. They are very close to each other, and they are very protective of her as well. Ryan and their fathers always teach them to take good care of Riley because she is a girl, and they are her brothers, so that's their duty. The boys take this very seriously, and sometimes when we scold Riley for something, they became angry at us too, just like now. Jason started caressing her back, and Dylan just looked at us angrily. "What's funny?" he asked again, but louder. "Sweetie, we just laughed because she was so adorable. We needed to laugh. Sorry," I told them, and they nodded, and now both of them turned to Riley. "Don't cry," they told her, and everybody in the room let out an "Aw." They are so adorable, and they stand up for each other, even against their parents if it's needed. "Come, Riley, you can hold him, but only if you sit on the couch, and I will put him onto your lap, all right?" I asked her, and her face lit up. "Yippee!" she shouted, and jumped onto the couch in no time. "Me too! Me too!" the boys shouted in unison, and now the three of them were sitting on the couch next to each other like good kids and waiting for their turn to hold Matt in their arms excitedly. I placed Matt into her arms, and she looked at him with a lot of love that my eyes filled up with tears from the happy sight in the front of me. I heard sniffling from my side, and I turned to look at Ryan, who was silently crying. "Aw, Daddy," I said, and hugged him while I was still watching Riley if she held him correctly. "What? I just have something in my eyes," he said with another sniff, and I just laughed at him. He is too kind and loving. Sometimes I can't believe that he was an arrogant jerk before. "I am next," Jason said, and waited for me to place Matt in his arms. "He is so small," Jason said with a smile. "We took a lot of photos of them. They will want to see it when they grow up, I am sure." The party went well, and everyone enjoyed themselves. Ryan needs to start the next day in his position as the new CEO, so everyone left early. "Are you excited about your first day?" I asked him when we were finally in bed and the children were already sleeping too in their rooms. We have a baby monitor, so we can sleep peacefully, but usually they don't wake up the whole night anyway. "Yes, I am. Will you come to visit me in the afternoon?" he asked, and I nodded my head with a smile. "If you want me to," I said lovingly, and he pulled me closer and wrapped his arms around me tightly. We are together already almost 5 years, but we still love each other like crazy. I always miss him when he is not around, and I don't think it's normal after so many years. And let's just not mention the jealousy. We are both very jealous of each other, and we had a few arguments about these things already. But we are trying our best not to show each other how jealous we really are to avoid more arguments. "Of course I want you to. Don't you want to be my partner? In that case, we can see each other every day, all day, day and night," he said, and I chuckled. "I don't know. Maybe if Matt will be bigger," I said, and he nodded. "I can't wait," he said, and pulled the blanket on the top of us. "Let's have some fun, Mommy," he said playfully, and I just giggled, and you can imagine what happened after that. It was my turn, by the way. The next morning, I woke up early to help Ryan to get ready for work. I packed some food for him for later and prepared breakfast for all of us when I heard my baby's voice on the baby monitor. I ran up the stairs and opened the door of their room, what they share now because Riley insisted to sleep in the same room with his little brother in case he has a bad dream, as she said. I walked in to see her talking to him sweetly to be calm because she is here with him and I will come soon too. They are so adorable and I love them more than anything in this world. Good morning, sweeties. Did you sleep well? I asked them and went to hug them one by one. Yes, Mommy, Riley said, and Matt smiled at me with his 4 small teeth showing. Come on, let's wash you both, and I will change your clothes, I said, and Riley ran to the bathroom. I can dress up alone, she said, and I nodded at her. I know, sweetie, you are a big girl already, I said, and she smiled at me proudly. I washed their faces and teeth and dressed Matt up while Riley chose a pretty dress for herself. Am I pretty, Mommy? She asked and spins around to show me her dress, what she wears inside out. Yes, darling, I said with a laugh, and she smiled at me proudly. We went downstairs to see Ryan was already sitting by the table, waiting for us. My angels are here, he said, and came to give one kiss for all of us. Good morning, Daddy, Riley said and hugged her father while I placed Matt in his chair, gently. Good morning, Princess. Did you sleep well? He asked her with a wide smile. He is very proud of our children, and we are very happy together. Yes, Daddy. And you? She asked adorably. I did too. Come on, let's have some breakfast, he said, and placed her into her chair. We ate our pancakes quietly and smiled at each other occasionally. I wish you a good first day, my love, I told him when he was about to leave. Thanks, Angel. I will wait for you to visit me, he said, and I nodded. We will come by in the afternoon, I said, and I didn't really want to let him go when he looked this sexy in his black suit. Okay, you two take good care of Mommy till I am away, he said, and kissed their chubby cheeks while they giggled. I will, Daddy. Don't worry, Riley said, and I smiled at them. Good girl. See you soon, my angels, he said, and left the house while we were waving at him from the front window. When he left, I took my babies to the living room and let them play while I cleaned up in the kitchen when my phone rang. Hello? I answered. It was my sister, Kelly. Hi, sis. What are you doing? She asked, and I smiled automatically. We became really close with my sisters and the twins over the years, even more than before. I am just cleaning. Ryan just left for work. You? I asked her. Me too. Tyler just left as well, she said. Ryan wanted Tyler and Dom to work with him since, as he said, he wants some trustworthy people in his team, so he hired them as managers, and after a few minutes of persuasion, they agreed. Do you want to come over? Dinah will be here soon as well, she said. Okay, we will be there soon, I said. See you soon then, she said, and we hang up. Chapter 32. Mia's POV. We walked over to Kelly's since they live just a few houses away from us, and Riley was already excited to see Dylan and Jason, even though they see each other almost every day. Hi, sis, Dinah and Kelly said in unison, and I laughed at them. Hi, wife like husband, right? I said jokingly, and they giggled. Riley ran off as soon as we stepped into their house to find the boys. Hi, Riley, they shouted after her, but she was out of headshot already. I just shook my head and walked into their living room with Matt in my arms. Dinah took him from my hands right away. She likes babies, and they can't have more, sadly, because she had some problems after her pregnancy. How are you feeling about Ryan's first day of work? Kelly asked, and I look at her with a frown. How should I feel? I ask her, and she looked anxious. How do you feel? I ask her, and she let out a sigh. I don't know. I am just a bit jealous, okay? She said finally with a blush. Of whom? I asked her in confusion. Of whom? Are you kidding? They will work together with a lot of beautiful women with sexy clothes who will walk around them in their high heels and short skirts," she said, and I start to think about what she just said. She is right, and I didn't even think about it before. In this kind of offices, working a lot of money, hungrily single women who just want to catch a man with money or high position. What if Ryan falls in love with one of them? What will happen to our family? What would I do? I can't live without him. Great. Look what you did now, Kelly. You make her worry over nothing. Ryan loves you, Mia, more than his own life. He would never cheat on you, Dinah said when she saw my worried expression. She is right, Mia. Don't pay attention to me. I am always overthinking things anyway, she said with an embarrassed laugh. I think you are right, Kelly. What if one of them fall in love with one of those cleavage-showing women? What if they will leave us for one of them? What will happen to our families and our children? I ask in panic, and they look at me with a worried expression on their faces. Should we check on them? Dinah asked after she thought about it. I will go visit Ryan in the afternoon anyway. Do you want to come with me? I asked, and Kelly was hesitating. I don't know. We had an argument yesterday evening about this with Tyler, and I don't think he will be happy to see me there, Kelly said, and I nodded at her. Then I will just be your eyes too, I said with a smile, and they smiled back at me. Thanks, and tell us everything, okay? Kelly said. Check out their assistants and the women on their floor, Dinah added, and I nodded again with a laugh. Don't worry, I will keep my eyes open, I said, and they nodded. You can just leave Matt and Riley here with us. In that case, you can move easier to spy on them, Dinah said with a laugh, and we burst out laughing too. They really think alike with Dom. All right, should I leave already now? I asked them and look at my watch. It's 11:30. I think you should. He expects you to go in the afternoon. It's almost lunchtime anyway. You can use that as an excuse, Kelly said, and I nodded. All right, I will call you, I said, and explains to Riley that I will go to make sure that Daddy has his lunch, and she was happy to stay and play more with Dylan and Jason. I left their house and sit into the Camaro to drive to their office building, what was 10 minutes away, so I arrived just 15 minutes before 12. After parking my car in the parking lot where hundreds of cars was already parking, I head towards the entrance. I walk to the reception desk where a very pretty girl was sitting. She could be just a few years younger than me. Hi, what can I help you with? She asked sweetly with a kind smile. Maybe she is a nice person. Hi, I came to see the CEO, Ryan Collins. He is expecting me, I said to her kindly, and she didn't smile anymore. Do you have an appointment? She asked now without even looking at me. No, I started to say when she cut me off. Then I can't let you go upstairs. Sorry. Have a nice day. She smiled again and started typing something on her computer. I am his wife, I said rudely, and she looked at me like I am crazy. Yeah, right, and I am his sister, she said while she rolled her eyes. Is she serious right now? I start to lose my cool, and that won't be pretty if that will happen. So I took my phone out of my pocket and turned it towards her to see our photo that was my wallpaper on my phone. See? She looked at the photo in disbelief, then at me to make sure that I am the one on it, in the wedding dress. Oh, sorry, ma'am. You can just head upstairs with the elevator to the top floor. His office is on the end of the corridor, she said with a scared expression politely at this time, and I just smiled at her. It's okay, thank you. What's your name, by the way? I asked her, and she gulped loudly. Miranda, she said, and I nodded. Have a nice day, Miranda, I said, and left her there. I hate those kind of women, seriously. I head towards the elevator where she pointed and press the bottom of the top floor. The door opened with a ping, and I walk out to see again a nice girl sitting by her desk and looking at herself in her pocket mirror. She has blonde hair and a perfect body with a pretty face. I knew it, I thought, and I walk up to her who wasn't aware of my presence yet. She opened her top 2 buttons of her blouse to show off her cleavage right in front of me. How dare she? I cleared my throat, and she jumped and looked at me with a surprised expression on her face. "Oh, hi, sorry. I didn't see you there," she said with a smug smile, and I didn't even bother to force a smile on my face. "Hi, I am here to see Ryan Collins," I said, and she typed something in her computer. "Do you have an appointment?" she asked, and I smirked at her. "No, I don't," I said, and waited for her to say something. "Mia?" I heard his voice, and I turned towards him with a smile. "Hi, I came to take you out for lunch," I said, and pecked his lips, and I heard the girl gasp behind me. "Come into my office. I am almost done, and then we can leave," he said with a smile, and I nodded. "I wanted to check out your office anyway," I said seductively, and he chuckled while we walked towards his office. I didn't bother to look back at her, but I felt her hateful gaze on my back. "Is she your assistant?" I asked him when we were inside already. He has a nice, huge office with a couch in the middle and a few chairs around his table. "Yes, this is her first day, too," he said, and raised my eyebrows. "Good. Then this will be the last one, too, because I don't want her anywhere near you," I said seriously, and he looked at me with a confused expression. "Why?" he asked, and I folded my arms in the front of my chest and looked at him firmly. "Because she was buttoning out her blouse for you when I stepped out of the elevator after checking herself in the mirror," I said, and he looked at me in disbelief. "Are you jealous, Angel?" he asked with a smug smirk, and I couldn't help but be angry at him. "Yes, I am. And if you don't want me to stress all the time when you are working, then fire her and hire someone older and uglier," I said seriously, and he burst out laughing. When he saw that I am seriously, he stopped laughing right away and cleared his throat. "But Angel, with what reason should I fire her? You are fired because you are pretty and my wife is jealous, or what?" he asked, and I narrowed my eyes at him. "So you think she is pretty?" I asked, and his eyes widened. "No, I didn't," he started, but he sighed. "Okay, I will hire a man assistant. Happy?" he asked, and I smiled at him. "Very, thank you," I said, and went to sit on his lap. "I am sorry. I wouldn't be this mad if I didn't see it with my own eyes how she was preparing her to you," I said with a pout. "She was rude to me, too," I added, and he caressed my cheeks. "Then she is definitely fired," he said, and pressed a passionate kiss onto my lips. "Mr. Collins, Mr. Andrews asked when you two should have lunch together." That slut barged into his office without knocking, and she walked towards his table while she talked and swayed her hips like she is on the catwalk. Epilogue. Mia's POV. "Miss Nicole, do you have any manners?" Ryan asked her in a firm voice, and I looked at him with a surprised expression for a moment. I never heard him talk like this to anyone, and I can't help it, but it's turned me on really bad. "Knock on the door next time, and dress properly. This is an office and not a club," he said, and now she was embarrassed. "By the way, you saw me coming in with my wife." She looked up at me with wide eyes. "Don't ever disturb me when she is here. Understood?" he asked, and she jumped from his firm tone. "I am sorry, sir. Ma'am," she said, and hurried towards the door. "Miss Nicole, please call the HR department and ask them to come to my office after lunch, please," he called after her, and she nodded nervously and left his office. I just looked at him with lustful eyes, and he turned towards me. "That was fucking hot, husband. You made me wet," I said seductively, and he smirked at me and tightened his arms around me. "Then we need to take care of that, don't we?" he said, and pressed a button under his desk, and the door locked with a click. "You don't have any reason to be jealous, Angel, since I am still madly in love with you, And I can't even look at another woman like that, he said, and I smiled at him. I love you, I said, and he kissed me and lifted me up to place me on his table. Ryan, can I ask one more thing? I asked, and he nodded while he looked at me with a lot of passion in his eyes. Can you hire male assistants for the twins as well? I asked, and he burst out laughing. With pleasure, Angel, he said, and I smiled at him. By the way, your receptionist is also unprofessional. She didn't let me come up because she didn't believe me. As I said that I am your wife, she made fun of me. I said, maybe it's not nice to play with people work, but she should have called him and asked him if she can let me up like a professional receptionist. She is out too. Nobody can disrespect my wife. Now, let me make you feel good, Angel, because I am starving, he said, and helped me unbuttoning my shirt. I felt much better after talking to him. I am so happy that he is ready to change things and people around him just to make me feel better. I love you so much, and I don't want you to leave me for one of those pretty assistants who work here. They are walking around like they are on a fucking catwalk, and they don't care about the ring on your finger either, I said when we were having lunch in a nearby restaurant, and he chuckled at my words. You know, Angel, I need to admit, I love it when you are jealous. You know why? He asked, and I just shook my head with a confused expression. Because then I know that you love me as much as I love you, because I am also very jealous, Angel. I would like to lock you up for all day, away from the perverted eyes, he said, and now I am the one who chuckles at his words. I love you so much, I can't even tell you how much, I said, and he looked at me lovingly. I know, Angel. I feel it. And don't worry, please, because you are the only woman for me in this world, he said, and I smiled at him. Now let's eat, because I am starving, and I have a lot to do still, he said, and I nodded, and we started eating our food. By the way, where are my children? He asked suddenly with a confused expression, and I burst out laughing on his face. They are with our sisters. Riley wanted to play with the boys, so I thought they will be just bored here anyway, I said, and he nodded. Can you bring them with you tomorrow? He asked, and I looked at him in surprise. You want me to come tomorrow as well? I asked, and he nodded with a smile on his handsome face. I want you to visit me every single day till you will start to work here. Otherwise, who will scare off the ladies around me? He asked with a smug face, and I shook my head at him with a smile. All right, I will happily do that, I said, and we chuckled. I want everyone to know that you are mine and I am yours, he said, and I nodded my head. I want that too, I said, and we continue with our lunch. When we finished, it was time for me to go back to Kelly's and for him to go back to work. So we said goodbye with a heated kiss in the middle of the lobby where everyone was staring at us with wide eyes and open mouth. The women were glaring at me like I am some kind of sickness, but I just smiled at my husband proudly, and we didn't pay attention to anyone else, only each other. See you at home. Don't come too late, all right? I said, and he nodded. I will try to finish early, but I think it won't be a problem since this is my first day, so I don't have too much to do, he said, and I smiled at him. I will cook you something delicious, I said, and he raised one of his eyebrows. You are delicious, he said seductively, and I giggled. All right, I tell you should leave now. Take care. I love you, I said, and kissed him again. You too. And don't open the door for any handsome men if they are knocking, he said jokingly, and I laughed at him. Don't worry, I won't, I said with a playful wink addressed to him, and walked out of the building finally. Even after 5 years, it's not easy to part ways with him, even just for a few hours when we did everything together before. especially if hungry lions are surrounding him in his workplace. I walk back to my car and head back to Kelly's. They are already waiting for me impatiently in the living room, and Riley ran up to me excitedly. "Mommy, look what we made," she said, and pointed towards the castle they built with the boys. "It's really nice, guys. You did really well," I praised them, and they smiled happily. "Thanks, Auntie," Dom said, and I patted his head gently. "So, what did you see?" Kelly asked worriedly, and I walked to them to sit on the couch next to Dinah. "You don't want to know, but I took care of everything," I said with a smile, and they smiled back at me. "Your husbands will have male assistants," I said, and their smile widened. Kelly jumped onto me and hugged me tightly. "Thanks, sis. You are the best." "You don't know how worried I was about this," she said, and I nodded in understanding. "I know. Believe me, I saw Ryan's assistant unbuttoned her blouse to show herself to Ryan," I said, and they looked at me with wide eyes. "Really?" Dinah asked with a worried expression on her face. "Yes, but Ryan put her back on her place and make her call the HR department herself for a meeting," I said with a smile. "I told you he loves you a lot," she said, and I nodded. "And I love him even more," I said with a distant look. "I think we will head home, girls. I need to make dinner for the best husband in the world," I said, and stood up from the couch to prepare my kids for going home. "We could argue on that," Dinah said with a smile, and we chuckled. They are still deeply in love with each other as well, and that goes for Kelly and Tyler too. We went home with my babies, and I started to cook some dinner while Riley was watching TV and Matt was taking his afternoon nap. I made some spaghetti because I know how he loves it, because that was our first meal together as well. When I was done, I set up the table, and soon enough, Ryan walked through the door and I went to greet him happily. "Just in time," I said, because I was just done with everything, and he smiled. "And I thought you wished me to come home earlier," he said jokingly, and I shook my head at him. "I did. I wanted to call you like 3 times, but I talked myself out of it because I didn't want to disturb or annoy you," I said with a smile. "I know, Angel, but you never disturb or annoy me. I am always happy to talk to you. Actually, I wanted to call you too, but I wanted to finish my work as soon as possible to come home to you," he said, and I wrapped my arms around his neck. "I love you," I said, and he smiled at me lovingly. "I love you too, Angel," he said, and kissed me passionately. "I can't wait to see how our life evolves, because I am sure still we are all together. Everything will be good, and we will be very happy. We will do everything for our children in the future to keep them safe and protect them." The end. That Jerk is My Husband. Written by Nina. Narrated by Amanda Gilligan and Michael Lison.